Stobbles Bay at dusk Sunday evening, the beginning of a 3-hour patrol aboard the TT Hummingbird. As we boarded, we were given no indication of where the patrol would take us for security purposes. But as the boat slipped, the seaman jargon for its launch to sea, the Coast Guard was putting itself on the line, opening itself up to direct scrutiny via this mission, having been criticized recently over the attacks on fishermen in the Gulf of Paria. By law, the primary mission of the Coast Guard is for search and rescue missions, and that is why it is saying it could not be true that when reports came in that fishermen were lost at sea, it did not have enough vessels to operate. In fact, the Coast Guard is maintaining that vessels like these were out at sea and had responded at the time when the fishermen's calls came in. For a brief period, our cameras were allowed to shoot as we headed into the Gulf, as the Coast Guard's Public Relations Officer, Lieutenant Kirk Charbotiste, explained how they search for missing fishermen using the Air Guard and SWORD as backup.
What we'll do is we'll set up a search pattern based on the wind and the current. Right? The gentlemen in the ops room will work that out, right? And they'll give us a possible drift pattern that we could follow. And that is how we find people.
Radio CSATs are critical to all seafarers.
A lot of people seem to depend on their cell phones, right? And depending on where we go, you'll realize there are no cell towers at sea. So your cell comms may be diminished.
Between 2004 and 2005, he told us, life jackets and radios were given out to fishermen.
We did the training in the proper use of the jacket and proper use of the radios. Where that has gone, I have no idea.
And the question, how often does the Coast Guard respond to search and rescue calls? He says a couple times a week.
Most times it's broken down vessel and we go out, we find them, we go with a mechanic. Sometimes the mechanic helps with the problem, start them up, and we escort them in. Sometimes you have to get help with another vessel to tow them in.
Soon after the interview, the lights went out, the vessel operating in complete darkness, racing at high speed through the Gulf. Before long, our path would completely change as an intelligence report in conjunction with the Air Guard identified a fishing pirogue approaching the north coast near Maracas Bay with drugs, and in complete darkness the vessel raced towards the north coast. As we got there, we joined other vessels in the search, the most senior officer on board explaining to us how they were using interceptors to check the entire area.
He is going to be working his way west, checking in all the bays, checking all the points of land, all the inlets, heading west. The second interceptor is going to leave this position and head east doing the same thing. They will meet at some point and they would have effectively cleared or effectively searched a distance of 15 nautical miles. What we are going to do now, we are going to hold in this general area for a little while to work as a communication platform and also to render any assistance that they may require.
He explained that historically most of the drugs come into the country at the north and south coasts and that the Coast Guard serves as a deterrent.
The fact that they know that we cover those areas stops them from coming over as regularly as they might be coming over.
After 3 hours of searching, there were no sightings, and the vessel returned to Stobbles Bay, its mission, at least for the time being, complete.